John, it's been ages since we caught up. How's life treating you these days? I remember last time we spoke, you were working on a big construction project. How's that going?
Hey, Emma. Yeah, it's been a while. Things are great, actually. I've been busy with work, but it's the good kind of busy. I just finished a project where we built a house from the ground up. It was pretty intense but super rewarding.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I've always wondered what goes into building a house. It must be such a huge undertaking. What's it like managing something like that?
Oh, it's a lot of work, but it's also really satisfying. It starts with the planning phase, which is crucial. You can't build anything without a solid plan in place. First, we work with architects to design the house and ensure it meets all the client's needs. After that, we deal with permits, materials, and then the actual construction process.
That sounds like a lot of coordination. I imagine there are a ton of people involved in the process, right?
Absolutely. You have architects, engineers, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, just to name a few. Each team plays a specific role in the construction, and my job as a project manager is to make sure everything runs smoothly, on time, and within budget. Communication is key.
I can see that. How do you even start? I mean, when you're building a house from scratch, what's the very first step?
The very first step is to prepare the land. We need to make sure the plot is suitable for building. That often means clearing it of any debris, leveling the ground, and sometimes even doing soil tests to ensure the foundation will be stable. Once that's done, we can start laying the foundation.
I've heard that the foundation is the most important part of any building. Is that true?
100%. The foundation is literally what holds the house up. If it's not done correctly, the entire structure could be compromised. We spend a lot of time making sure it's perfect. There are different types of foundations, too, like slab, crawl space, or basement, depending on what the house design calls for and the terrain we're building on.
That makes sense. So, once the foundation is done, what comes next?
After the foundation, we move on to the framing. This is where the skeleton of the house gets built. It's pretty exciting because you can actually see the shape of the house start to take form. We install the beams, walls, and roof trusses during this phase. It's a crucial part of the process because everything else, plumbing, electrical work, insulation, depends on the framing being accurate.
It must be cool to see it all coming together, brick by brick. But I bet it's not without its challenges, right?
Oh, definitely. There are always challenges, whether it's weather delays, unexpected issues with the site, or even supply chain problems. For example, during the framing of this house, we had to stop for a few days because some materials were delayed. You have to be flexible and find solutions quickly.
I can imagine. Speaking of materials, how do you choose the right ones? Are there specific materials that you always use, or does it depend on the project?
It depends on the project and the client's budget. Some people want eco-friendly materials, others might prefer something more traditional or cost-effective. For example, we might use wood for framing, but steel could be an option for a more modern design. Then there's insulation, roofing materials, flooring. It all depends on what the client wants and what's best for the environment where the house is being built.
That's really interesting. I didn't realize there were so many options. Do clients usually know what they want, or do you help them decide?
It varies. Some clients come in with a clear vision of what they want, down to the type of wood for the floors or the color of the roof tiles. Others need a bit more guidance. We work closely with them and the architect to make sure the materials and designs meet their needs while also being practical.
It sounds like there's a lot of collaboration involved. Do you ever run into issues where the client's vision doesn't align with what's feasible?
Oh, all the time. People will sometimes have ideas that just aren't realistic, whether it's because of budget constraints or building codes. But that's part of the job, helping them find a balance between their dream house and what's actually possible. A big part of my role is managing expectations and coming up with creative solutions.
That sounds tricky, but I guess it's all worth it when the house is finally finished. How long does it usually take to complete a house from start to finish?
It depends on the size and complexity of the house, but on average, it takes about 6 to 12 months. Some custom builds can take even longer, especially if there are unique design features or if there are a lot of weather-related delays.
A year sounds like a long time, but I suppose when you think about all the work that goes into it, it makes sense. What's your favorite part of the whole process?
Honestly, I love the final stage, when everything comes together. Once the walls are up, the roof is on, and the interior work starts: painting, flooring, installing cabinets. It feels like the house is really becoming a home. Seeing the client's reaction when they walk through their finished house for the first time is incredibly rewarding.
I bet that's a great feeling. It must be nice to know that you're helping people build their dream homes. Have you ever built a house that was especially challenging or memorable?
Oh, for sure. There was one project where the client wanted a very modern design with lots of glass walls and open spaces. It was challenging because the structural design was quite complex, and we had to use some innovative techniques to make it all work. But in the end, it was one of the most beautiful houses I've ever worked on. It's definitely one I'll always remember.
That sounds amazing. It must be cool to work on such unique projects. Do you think you'll ever build your own house?
Funny you should ask. I've actually been thinking about it lately. After working on so many houses for other people, I've got a pretty good idea of what I'd want in my own place. I think I'd go for a mix of modern and rustic, something with a lot of open space, natural light, and sustainable materials.
That sounds perfect. I hope you get the chance to do it someday. So, what's next for you? Any exciting projects coming up?
Yeah, we've got a couple of new builds lined up, including a big custom home that's going to be a real showstopper. It's always exciting to start a new project and see how it develops. Plus, I'm looking forward to working with some new materials and techniques that I haven't used before.
That sounds like it'll be a great challenge. I can't wait to hear all about it next time we catch up. You really have an interesting job. I can't imagine the level of detail and skill it takes to build a house from scratch, but it sounds like you're thriving in it.
Thanks, Emma. It's definitely challenging, but that's what makes it exciting. There's always something new to learn and overcome in every project. Plus, seeing the final product and knowing that someone will create memories in that home, it makes it all worth it.
I can totally see that. I'll have to hit you up if I ever decide to build a house of my own.